Indestructible. Reliable. A legend, the Toyota Land Cruiser.
It plows through the rough areas of our planet, and that's since over 60 years. No other vehicle stands for perseverance of the Japanese like the Toyota Land Cruiser. So what is special about him, actually? And it's quite simple.
This
fascinating thing about the J4 is actually its simplicity, its basic concept. It is designed to function. It is made to bring people, cargo, crew from A to B, keep the environment outside and keep the rest inside. What comes between A and B doesn't matter, whether this is now the outback, the bush, or the Orient, or somewhere in Alaska, that doesn't matter. It is a commercial vehicle. It was designed for that. It meets this very well because it is so simply constructed.
A strong companion in rough terrain, whether snow, sand, or in water. The baptism of fire for the Land Cruiser was the Fuji volcano, the tallest mountain in Japan. The reason for the construction of the oversized Predator is, as with many SUVs, a war.
The Land Cruiser has been around since the 50s. In 1950, it was developed on the basis of military specifications, which meant at that time the Korean War. Vehicles had to be produced in Japan, and an invitation was sent out to the Japanese producers. Toyota was there, next to Mitsubishi and Nissan. Mitsubishi won the contract. The Toyota developers were henceforth free. They made an excellent concept, hopelessly oversized, as I said. The then head of development had a hard head and ensured that the vehicle concept was further developed. From that came the Land Cruiser, built in 1951 with the Series BJ. It's been called the Land Cruiser since 1954.
The breakthrough, especially in major markets such as Europe and America, happens with this model, the Land Cruiser J4. Since 1960, the Land Cruiser has sold over 6 million models, and there are more than 14 series. The ingredients for such a successful recipe are all-wheel drive, rigid leather frame, and a big engine.
This is a Toyota Land Cruiser J4, also called the 40 series. This is the third series. It was built from 1960 to 1984, in parts to 1986. We are sitting here in the short version, in the soft top version. This is a BJ42, built in 1984, so one of the last. Has the 5-speed gearbox, has what they had at the time, the 3.5-liter naturally aspirated diesel engine with an insane 95 horsepower, which is quite enough for the vehicle. A rigid ladder frame, a steering wheel, a seat, and a bit of sheet metal all around.
One paid about 30,000 Deutschmarks for this reliable all-wheel concept in 1984. Today, models in second condition cost about 13,000 euros. The performance data shows low horsepower coupled with large engine capacity are perfect for the working area of the Nippon Jeep. A look that has remained almost unchanged for over 40 years. A design that is today legendary. Closely spaced headlights, turn signals on the fender, angular silhouette reminiscent of Land Rover models. Whether bull bars, winch, or wider side sill, the simple structure permits a virtually infinite selection of variations and applications. Inside, comfort is non-existent, especially for the rear passengers. Extremely thin steering wheel without power steering, of course. The most essential instruments on the dashboard. One waits in vain for fresh air from the air conditioning. A clever feature, the ventilation flap opens with the foot. Plenty of room under the hood for the big, robust 3.5-liter diesel engine. The Land Cruiser is made for rough terrain, low center of gravity, and the largest possible ground clearance, so that nothing is quickly dragged up on the lower floor. People in remote regions appreciate it, especially in Africa. Safaris through the jungle or patrols through the national parks. The Toyota Land Cruiser has always been a reliable companion in the African bush. More successful than Jeep models from Mercedes, Land Rover & Co. The ease of getting spare parts for the Land Cruiser makes the difference. This bush taxi really brings everything from A to B.
Bush taxi is, firstly, every half-enabled machine that transports people in the African bush. The famous taxis are Peugeot 504 in many cases, simply the Land Cruiser because they think because they work, and because they're also very, very large. Troop carrier versions are constructed as 13-seaters. That is, many people fit inside. And at some point, it had the result the nickname Bush Taxi was transferred from the 45s to the long J4.
Not only a benefit for Land Cruiser owners in Africa, the supply of spare parts is relatively straightforward. This is an exception among Japanese classic cars. The Land Cruiser, an off-roader for everyone. And Toyota has advertised this for 30 years.
What is also very unusual about the concept is that Toyota has thought through the concept. It's very versatile. Toyota has repeatedly taken note of customer requirements. This means that there are a variety of models. With the J4 alone, there are over 30 different models. From the successor J7, there are well over 120 versions. There's then the short version in which we are sitting. There's the middle wheelbase and the long wheelbase used as a troop carrier. There is the pickup. There's the Capture C version for firefighting. There are countless varieties.
The response to customer needs means, above all, make the thing more comfortable. In 1967, the station wagon with the internal abbreviation J5 comes onto the market. Luxury finds its way into the Land Cruiser. From 1980, the station wagon is completely lifted and then externally from the original Land Cruiser. It is round, deep, and elegant. The Toyota Land Cruiser, not a classic car for the garage, but for the road, and even far beyond.